welcome to the Daryl
and Ryan
Show.
We did it.
We did it. That's great. So today we have a special guest.
Yes, we do.
We have the Honorable Reverend Mac Daddy, Pastor,
Rapper extraordinaire.
Yeah, Pastor Brian McCall of MGBC.
We don't have a studio audience.
I can't tell you how honored I am. I have to tell you, I have had professional quarterbacks in my kitchen. I have ridden in an elevator with a professional running back. I have gone to basketball camp with a professional basketball player.
How have we never heard this before?
This ranks right up there. This is right there with all of those three. This is number 4 for me to be on the Daryl and Ryan Show.
So this is our list of questions we were going to ask today, and I'm just going to rip that up because I think it just got a little more interesting.
Okay.
Tell us about these encounters.
Joe Ferguson was the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
He came out, we owned some property, and he hunted on our property, and so he was in our kitchen. And so that's how I met Joe Ferguson.
I was Facebook friends with him?
No. No, I was on a cruise, and Thurman Thomas got in the elevator with us, and so I got a chance to.
Do you have his helmet?
He did.
Is that a sore spot for you? I'm sorry.
He forgot it.
Okay.
He forgot to pack it. And Chris Webber, NBA Michigan star.
Chris Webber.
Yeah,
the timeout guy.
Chris Webber, the timeout guy. He came to my basketball camp, Screaming Eagles summer basketball camp. He was only in like 8th grade at the time and scored 40 points and could dunk. But yeah.
Only in 8th grade.
Yeah, he was dunking at 8th grade. So So you guys are right up there.
So
I feel very
honestly, this needs to be the highest rated show because not only all those things we said about Pastor Brian are true, he's also our boss.
That's right.
So if this episode tanks, we'll probably get fired.
Yeah.
Good chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So share with everybody.
Yeah, you have to like it.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you like it and then you share it on Facebook.
Yeah, put comments on YouTube.
YouTube comments.
So please keep it all positive because I really need this job. I need to be employed right now.
Brutal honesty from Daryl Cyrus. So, Daryl, what did you do last night?
So last night, once again, congratulations to all of our 2020 high school graduates, but especially to those who attend Central High School. We had the parade.
Alma mater.
We had the parade last night, and Ryan, how was that parade?
It was good. It's funny I asked you what you did last night because I was there. We hung out.
Yeah, we have to do segues, right?
I'm going to say it was good because if not, that's 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. No, it was really fun. Far less tractors than I'm used to in the parade. When it was over, I was hungry for a funnel cake and kind of disappointed that I couldn't go to the park to get one. But yeah, it was cool. It was really cool seeing a lot of our seniors. We spent some time with the Campbells and Dave Durr were hanging with us. And
Tim, Lloyd family.
And the Lloyd family. The Lloyd family rolled in a little bit after those guys. Yes. And you were harassing the children. I mean...
I was building them up. Up with the Lord.
But Tim Campbell brought along... He had a sign... for, I believe, every senior from the youth group and from the basketball team that he coaches. He had a sign with their name on. He did a lot of prep work for that.
I felt horrible because I sent out like a text yesterday saying congratulations to all the seniors, especially those who are graduating from Central because of the parade. And here comes Tim Campbell with a little, billboard and little rip-off sign with names in alphabetical order and everything. I felt low.
We're not as good as Tim Campbell.
Does that fall into that category of one step towards being fired?
Yeah, it does. It drifts. It's always drifting towards being fired, people.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a really good time. Did you enjoy it? I enjoyed it.
I did. And hey, shout out to the seniors who actually threw candy.
Yes.
Yesterday, you guys are the true MVPs.
Yeah. So there were like 6 groups of 25, something like that.
Yeah.
That's how they sent them through. And the first 3 groups did not have candy, and I was getting real hungry because I didn't eat before I came. And group 4 came through in the clutch. There were at least 3 cars that had good candy, some fruities, dum-dums. It was awesome.
That was great candy. Let's not forget like the little kids beside us that were throwing grapes and pineapples out to the street. So
yeah, that was kind of fun. In between the groups, we were watching to see if a truck would hit a grape.
Yeah, and all the grapes eventually got destroyed, but I missed it because I was on my phone. And so hey, let that be just a lesson to you. Life is happening. You always have to be look at your smartphone because if you do, you might miss a grape getting crushed by a vehicle.
Was it worth it?
It wasn't. I would rather have seen that grape getting crushed than me looking at my Facebook messages for the umpteenth time that day.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
You know what Miyagi said to Danielson?
Who's Miyagi?
Wax on, wax off.
No, well, same
Like it's
movie,
a- yeah.
but he said, "Hey, Danielson, walk left side road, okay. Walk right side road, okay. Walk middle road, squish like grape."
Cool. There you go. Do you
I'm
get,
obligated to laugh. Way to go, boss.
Daryl, that's a Karate Kid reference.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
Karate
you. I never,
Kid.
never saw that movie.
You haven't seen that
Wow.
movie? Okay.
We're going to stop right now and watch the Karate Kid.
That'd be great.
I'm just kidding.
But not during office hours, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, shall we get into the interview portion?
Yeah, we probably should. So, I guess 2 weeks ago, we had Pastor Brant here. We did an interview with him. So we kind of want to do that same thing with Pastor Brian today. And Ryan, you have the first question.
I do.
right?
So, Pastor Brian, tell us about your upbringing. Where'd you grow up? What was it like?
Very rural setting, similar to this. Western New York, a little town called Springville. Went to Springville Griffith Institute, home of the Griffins. If you don't know what a Griffin is, you might want to do a little Google search on
Oh,
that.
no one has time for that. What is a griffin?
It's
Do you know?
yeah. It's a horse that has wings and a head of a lion.
So, what you're saying is your mascot was a mythical creature?
That's correct.
I can relate.
But then
Central
again,
Dragons.
if you go to a school that is called an institute, it kind of gives you a different
You think
perspective.
God was preparing you?
I don't.
At a young age.
Maybe even
Well,
maybe
that'll
even
that'll
back
make more
then.
sense later on. But
Yeah.
let's go.
So grew up in Western New York. I lived about a mile from my wife, Shelley. She grew up there as well. Met her on the bus. Loved sports, played a lot of sports, football, basketball, not so much. And then baseball was really kind of my key thing. I really enjoyed baseball and spent a lot of time. I was an only child, so I learned to deal with things and do things by myself, and so it was good. I had a good family. Parents love the Lord, Christian family, raised in a Christian household, and it was good. It was a good childhood, really
Hey,
good childhood.
let's hear about that football story.
Which one?
You know, you being a freshman getting called to varsity. How you
Yeah.
almost made it to the NFL, but just some like two tragic plays just ruined it for you. Yeah, let's hear that story.
Well, okay, I can tell you that story. I was a freshman, and the coach pulled me in. Varsity coach said, "Hey, we have some important games coming up, but we feel like we could use you on the varsity squad towards
Wow.
it." So,
Big stuff.
yeah, it was. And so I remember it was either that same day I was out in practice and went for a long pass, and the quarterback laid it out there perfectly. I mean, just in stride, just right there, and I dropped it. And all I could hear was the coach yelling, "McCall, maybe we can't use you." So
I'm roasted.
that was pretty much. But I stayed on varsity for the rest of the year, and I will tell you this: the junior varsity team that I played on that year was undefeated, 9-0, and unscored upon.
Wow.
Okay, were you remember the Titans? Were you in that movie?
No,
With Denzel as your coach?
nope. But we went 9 games, and no one scored 9 games, 9 straight shutouts.
pretty impressive.
Irony. I played football 1 year. I was a junior in high school, and we had a perfect record as well. We were 0-9.
Wow.
We were the 0-9 Gators, the worst record in school history. We would have been 0-10, but our one game got canceled because of lightning and everything. And we had a homecoming game. We were playing against another bad team, and the joke around the school, it was called the Toilet Bowl.
Okay.
We lost that game too.
You lost that game,
yeah.
too.
Well, that reminds me that I hold a record at Central, actually, for the lowest three-point shooting percentage of all time.
Yeah.
I was 0 for 1. I wasn't really allowed to shoot threes, but I asked my coach on senior night, can I shoot a 3? And he said, if we're up by 20, you can shoot a 3. So I got the ball. My shot was usually kind of around the elbow foul line. And I looked up to shoot, and I looked at the scoreboard. We were up by exactly 20. So I stepped back, popped a 3, in and out. I was one shot away from having the all-time highest three-point shooting percentage. So, well of records.
Yeah, we need to move off of these negative
Yeah.
sports things. These
That's a
are
good
these
point.
are sad.
Let's
These are
talk about
depressing.
something positive then.
These are
Let's talk about your church upbringing. What was that like?
Grew up in a Baptist church, small Baptist church. Came to Christ there. My 2 cousins who lived just about a mile from me, actually right across from my wife's house, they were doing a series of special services, and went forward and gave my life to Christ there. But I will say this, giving my life to Christ at that point was more fire insurance, that I knew more about the condemnation of God as more than I did about His grace, mercy, and love. And so it was a process over time, a process that I began to understand, and in particular here at Martinsburg Grace Brethren Church, where I learned more about grace and God's grace and His love and His compassion. Yes, there is a side of condemnation, there is a side of hell, but there is also His grace and love and mercy. And so I learned that.
So you learned about grace at a Grace Brethren church? Is there a pun
Yes.
there?
No, that's just fact.
Okay, that's good.
Just fact. Yep.
So you talked about you live close to Shelley. You met on the bus. Is that what you said?
I did. I was the last stop on the bus pickup.
Okay.
And I got on the bus, and most of the seats were filled, and I went back through looking for a seat, and here was this beautiful girl sitting in this seat up against the window, and there was nobody sitting with her, and so I asked her if I could, hey, can I sit with you? And
How old were you?
I was a year older than her. I was probably in 8th grade or a freshman about that time. And so I sat down with her, and I was selling Ducky Derby rotary ducks for a fundraiser, and I asked her if she wanted to buy a duck.
Okay, well, help me out here, because I'm confused.
Okay.
Is this like a real duck?
No, it's kind of like a rubber duck that has a number on it.
Oh, okay.
So they dump all these ducks in the river, and the first one to cross the finish line, that numbered duck.
I'm sorry, this is showing my ignorance. I hear rural background, I hear ducks on a bus. Like, what type was this? I'm sorry.
I know.
Go
But-
on.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. So anyways, I asked if she wanted to buy a duck. I don't even know if she bought it or not. But anyways,
You were too starstruck.
that was it.
Love struck.
I was love struck.
Wow. So moving forward from there, eventually got married and had kids. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Got married. Went to Houghton College, Western New York. Nice shirt, by the way. Yeah.
Wore this just for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
That was the first thing in my closet.
Houghton College, went there and left there. Shelley and I and my son Justin at that time, we moved to Michigan and lived in Berkeley, Michigan. Actually moved around quite a bit out there, different locations, but taught at a private Christian school in Southfield, Michigan. And I was a varsity baseball, varsity girls, and varsity boys basketball coach. Basketball for girls and boys were at separate seasons out there. So I was able
You
to.
were the coach.
I was the varsity coach, yeah, through those years.
Nice.
And we lived out there for 6 years and just decided we didn't like raising our family in the city environment. And so God led us. Plus, I'm an only child, knowing that at some point you're going to have to care for my parents. So we relocated back here.
And at this point, your parents moved.
Yes.
Had moved here already.
Yeah, my dad had retired in Buffalo from the steel mills and had moved back to his home here. My parents are raised in Clappertown.
Gotcha.
So they had moved
Clappertown.
back here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clappertown.
My
Very
memory of Clappertown is we grew up going to church in Williamsburg, and I would get car sick every week on Piney Creek. So
on Piney Creek. Yeah.
Clappertown has good memories.
Yeah.
I do
So
like Clappertown.
they moved back here, bought a house in Fredericksburg, and little known fact, I could ask them, do they know where I lived initially? When I first moved back,
Oh.
tell
Tell us in the comments right now.
if you know where I lived, the house that I lived in initially when I first moved back?
Did you live in a church basement for like 2 weeks?
No.
That was your story.
That's my. I'm sorry. That's just. I'm sorry. It's not about me. Move on.
Yeah. So if anybody knows, you can come. Do you know where I live?
I have no idea.
Do you know where I live?
yeah.
Yeah, why don't you tell them now that they've had an opportunity to...
Millerstown Road,
Millerstown Road.
current home of Arlen and Jerry Roth.
That's right. Miss Jerry and Arlen and Becca and Anna live in the house that we lived in.
I have a practical question for you.
Sure.
So you're a Buffalo Bills fan, correct?
More Steelers because I've lived more in this area, and so I've yeah. But I am a Bills fan.
Okay. So how has being a Bills fan taught you about long suffering and patience?
Persistence. That's correct. Persistence and hanging on and knowing that your trials and tribulations, that you can move through them joyfully and you can grow through them. That's what I've learned
And
from
you
that.
might never win a Super Bowl.
You might never win a Super Bowl. You might not. So, yeah. But so we lived up in Millerstown Road and then built a house next door to my parents in Fredericksburg.
Nice.
Yeah.
The booming metropolis, Fredericksburg.
Yep.
All right. So I know your school was called institution and everything. So before you got to full-time ministry or you were a coach, what else did you do, like big jobs?
Okay. When I moved back here to Pennsylvania, I couldn't go into the teaching. Teaching was what I was trained to do, but I couldn't go into education because Pennsylvania wouldn't accept my certification. And so I worked at the Back Wall Fitness and Wellness Center as the general manager there, which is now the Summit. So if you're familiar with the Summit, where you have the soccer leagues, basketball leagues, I managed the Summit for 2 years and then went to work in the Federal Bureau of Prisons at the Federal Correctional Institution in Loretto, Pennsylvania.
Now that's a big jump. So GM to correctional officer, like how's that happen?
Well, here's how it happened. They put together a committee or a group of people to purchase equipment for the prison as they were beginning to expand and add more inmates. And they asked me to sit on this committee to help give them some guidance in purchasing fitness and exercise equipment. And so I sat on the committee, and then eventually one of the guys in the committee said, hey, we're going to be adding some recreation people. Would you be interested in coming to work for the federal government? And I said, yeah. And
that's cool.
That's cool.
That's really, I didn't know that much. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's kind of how it worked.
Yeah.
So started organizing wellness programs, fitness programs for the inmates to help make them healthier, to help reduce medical expenses. And about halfway through, 10 years through, I went into education department where I taught a couple years of GED and then moved as a vocational technical coordinator where I would help inmates get vocational skills so when they're released they could find jobs and employment.
That's awesome.
Yep.
It's awesome. So how did you end up becoming a pastor?
Not really sure. No, I do. I had several people that had indicated that they felt that I had some giftedness to work as a shepherd in ministry. And again, not to bore all the details, but the Federal Bureau of Prisons does require you to retire at 57. They ask you to leave at 57, or you're required to leave. And I didn't want to quit work, and so I felt God calling me into a ministry. So I went back to Moody Bible Institute, where you've taken some classes, and took some master's level classes, as well as got my pastoral licensure through the West Penn District Grace Brethren Fellowship, and went back to school online, and just started to pursue that, and took my examination, passed my examination, and God just kind of worked through some things. But fortunately, I had people encouraging me and saying, hey, we think you have this giftedness, and that's how I ended up pastoring here.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
You've lived a lot of life.
I have. I've had, and it's interesting because when you first look at it, sometimes you don't think your experiences in the past prepare you for ministry. But then when you look back and you see what God has done through all of that and how it has prepared you for certain aspects of ministry, it's just neat to see that it's not like it's totally different. It's just a different aspect of ministry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Cool. You got anything else, Daryl?
Who's your favorite staff member?
I don't have a favorite. All I know is I've got a favorite team that I work with. And
who's your least favorite staff member?
I don't have a least favorite, and I don't have a favorite.
It's about to be you.
I'm just happy. I'm just happy to have a solid, committed team of individuals that love God and love the church and love shepherding people, and especially at this time because it has been challenging for all of us to navigate through these difficult times with the church. But the team that we have is a solid team, and they work hard and they work well together, and we communicate well together, and we proceed and we keep the purposes of God's kingdom and the purposes of His church firmly in focus. And I appreciate that.
Right.
So I don't have a least favorite.
That's good.
Or
That's a
favorite.
Great answer.
Try to.
But I know we said least favorite. Your eyes kind of darted towards me for a little bit longer than Ryan's. But hey, that's besides the point.
That's right.
We want to say thank you to Pastor Brian just for being just a really good pastor and just I think you've done a great job just shepherding all of us.
Dealing with us sometimes.
Through all of this right now. And once again, thanks for being our guest. You didn't have to do this. You're a busy guy, so thanks.
I appreciate your patience because, as you guys know, I'm not tech savvy, so oftentimes I have to ask you guys questions about technology stuff, and I appreciate you dragging me into the tech realm and being
21st
patient.
century.
Yeah. So appreciate it.
So please remember, he is our boss. If this episode tanks, you might not see us again, but
Maybe that's what the people want. Who
yeah.
knows?
So anyway, this is the Daryl
And Ryan.
Show.